What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another top 5 video. And today, as you guys can obviously tell from the title, we are taking a look at the top 5 maps of Ark. Now, yes, there are only 5 official technical maps of Ark. We aren't including any modded maps in this list for obvious reasons, but these 5 maps, we'll be going into a little bit of detail about them, and we'll be ranking them from easiest to most difficultest in our opinion. So we're going to start from number 5 being the easiest and number 1 being the most difficult. So let's jump into the list and take a look at the maps of Ark. So coming in at number 5 is the Ragnarok map. Now this map isn't created by the Ark devs, it was created by an individual publisher, and they have done a fantastic job on creating this map. This map is, in my opinion, the easiest out of all the maps. It's abundant in resources, there's plenty of tames, and a lot of the tames are high level, which means you can easily get high level tame dinosaurs, and it just makes gathering resources a whole lot easier. Pretty much wherever you look, there is always going to be metal nodes spawned in somewhere. You can see here there aren't any directly above us or below us, but there are some down near this waterfall. There's some just in the redwoods over here. You can essentially build anywhere on the map and not be afraid of being able to find metal really easily. Because, well, it's just a huge map and there's plenty of biomes across the entire map as well, which makes gathering resources a lot easier. Now, like I said as well, a lot of the tames in this map are very high leveled ones. Obviously, the max being 150 on Vanilla Ark. You can boost that, obviously, though. But these tames, they're easy to come by. You know, you can easily find 130s, 140s, 150 tames. You just have to do a little bit of looking. It's a lot easier to find high level tames on this map than it is, say, the island. You say, look, we've got this mantis over here. What level is this guy going to be? If he doesn't try eating our brains up. That's a level 20. That is a horrible example to showcase for this map. But this map also has the Wyverns Trench. It has all 4 different types of wyverns on it. Frost, fire, poison, and lightning. It also has griffins available to it, which is absolutely amazing because griffins are good creatures. So you can see there's the sky there. You can easily get eggs and whatnot. Gather as many eggs as you want from there. You know, there's plenty of things to go about doing and getting into this map. You know, they have their own bosses as well. And to be honest with you, the last boss, I can't remember what difficulty it is, but the hardest boss on this map is actually easier than the island's dragon boss. And you have to actually face a dragon and the manticore on this one. That's right, it's easier than the island's dragon boss by itself. So yeah, that's all there really is. You know, you've got the volcano, you've got the snow, you've got the desert, you've got a huge landscape. The map on this place is absolutely ginormous. You can see there, 144 square kilometers apparently is what the size of this map is. But, you know, it's evenly spaced out. It's got plenty of opportunities for players to start off early off. You know, Viking Bay is a very easy spot to start off. The jungles as well are very easy to start off in. You know, you've got the volcano, charcoal trees, everything, dung beetles, you name it. This map is hands down number 5 as the easiest, and in my opinion, it is also my favorite map. However, due to it being the easiest, we are putting it at number 5. Now, the map coming in at number 4 is none other than the island itself. Now, this was the first original map of Ark, and, well, it definitely sticks to its roots. The dinosaurs on this map are a little bit harder to, not harder to tame up, but they do spawn in at lower levels. They are a little bit more difficult to find than Ragnarok 150s. Oh god, okay, well, we just got killed. Now, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. The creatures on the island don't spawn in at such a high level as the creatures on Ragnarok. You'll find that you'll rarely find creatures at level 150. They just, I don't know why, they just don't seem to spawn as abundantly as they do in Ragnarok. As well as that, metal nodes are significantly more limited on the island. You'll find metal nodes mainly around the mountainsides, whereas on Ragnarok you can find them pretty much anywhere, which makes the island a little bit more of a pain in the butt, because if you're really far away from metal, well, you're kind of screwed. You know, you have to make sure you have decent tames to make the distance to get to the metal and whatnot. But other than that, the island is still a relatively decently easy spot to start off your adventures on the Ark. Obviously, I would start off on Ragnarok first because, well, it's Ragnarok and Ragnarok is amazing and you have wyverns and everything. The island, you don't have access to wyverns, you don't have access to griffins, none of that stuff. You don't have access to the Scorched Earth creatures on the island like you do on Ragnarok either. So there is that to take into consideration as well. Now, as well as that, the biomes in the island are significantly more isolated, I guess you could say. So the middle of the map is pretty much the swamp, while you've only got the northwest section of the map, mainly the snow, I believe. So there is that to factor in as well. However, you don't really need to go to those locations all too often. Mainly you'll go to the snow to tame up beauties or other ice-dwelling creatures such as the rhinos, the mammoths and whatnot. But you can find some of those creatures elsewhere. As well as that, there are oil nodes that spawn out in the open. There aren't any oil veins or water veins like there are in Ragnarok, sorry. So there is also that to take into consideration as well. But other than that, that's pretty much all there is to say about the island. You know, it's your basic run-of-the-mill starting point. You know, if you don't feel comfortable starting on such a big map like Ragnarok, well, come over to the island because, well, it's obviously easier than the other maps that are going to be on this list. So yeah, you know, you've got your redwoods and everything, so everything's more isolated on the island, whereas Ragnarok, everything's kind of more spread out. But yeah, you also have explorer notes on the island. Unlike Ragnarok, you don't actually have explorer notes there. So you can see here you're able to get explorer notes with grant you double XP for a certain amount of time, which is great for leveling up your characters as well. So that's why the island comes in at number 4 on this list. Now the map coming in at number 3 is the center. Now the center, much like Ragnarok, is a different developer made it pretty much. So it was made by the people that didn't make Ark, pretty much. That's the way you can explain it. Now, we've never actually fully taken a proper look at the center, hence why it's named at number 3. Because, well, we're just not 100% sure at it, and to be honest with you, we haven't got a clue as to how much stuff is on it and everything. We know there are separate biomes. We know there is a gigantic island in the middle of the map. I think that's where we're heading to now. But you can essentially find creatures here the same as Ragnarok. They are relatively high level. And there are, you know, the Volcano Island, which you can see over in the distance there, which has charcoal trees, which you can gather. You've got the, I think it's like the Skull Cave over there. I've heard people call it Batman's Cave, which is over there as well, where you can find lava and whatnot. But, you know, this map is a really pretty map. It's not as big as Ragnarok, but it is bigger than the island. So do take that into mind as well. But this map is definitely meant for flyers. Oh god, you can see we just reached the barrier there. This map is definitely meant for flyers because you can easily navigate through the map with flyers easily. Now, as well as that, I'm pretty sure there is a subterranean part of the map as well, where it's got like its own artificial sunlight and everything, which is pretty cool. But in terms of resource gathering, I'm pretty sure the nodes are scattered around much like the island. There are particular spots where metal nodes are more abundant than others. However, you do have certain spots, and we've crashed the game. You do have other certain spots where there are particular nodes just in certain spots. And this looks like one of the islands, I suppose. But these guys do have their own bosses as well. I'm not 100% sure if they are working, but I think you fight the Megatherium here as well. And I think this might be his temple up here or something. So yeah, the center is a pretty coolly designed map. I'm definitely going to give it a go sometime soon. So do keep an eye out for that as well. But in terms of everything else, this is a really nicely designed map and easily on par with Ragnarok in terms of prettiness. However, due to difficulty, it comes in at number 3 because we definitely think from the time that we have spent playing it, it is more difficult than the island and Ragnarok. But you can see here, this is the shrine dedicated to the gigantic ape, the Megapithecus, I believe. I think we called it a Megatherium by mistake. Whoopsies. So yeah, so the center is coming in at number 3. Now coming in at number 2, we have Scorched Earth. Now Scorched Earth is definitely one of my favorite maps as well, just because you have the unique creatures that come into Scorched Earth as well. You've got the wyverns in the trench as well in Scorched Earth. You can see we're still raising this one back from our Scorched Earth playthrough that we did a very long time ago. But you can see there, they have wyverns available to yourself. You have all these other creatures that are just readily available. Obviously, the desert creatures are available here. However, you can tame those other creatures in Ragnarok. But as well as that, one of my favorite things is that you can actually build the adobe structures in Scorched Earth. These adobe structures look awesome, and I really, really like them. Just the way they look, they're different to your basic metal, wood, stone bases. However, they are still significantly weaker, so you do have to keep an eye out for that if you plan on building in Scorched Earth and whatnot. So this is a great map to, you know, just get a different experience from Ark. You know, if you're used to the island and Ragnarok, well, jump on over to Scorched Earth and you can easily have a different experience as it's all desert based and it makes things a lot interesting. There are only one type of boss on this map, the Manticore. You can take wyverns, I believe, in to fight him now. This place also is full of lidded drops. Like, there are drops everywhere all the time, and it's a great way to get blueprints and loot, especially if you're playing on official servers. Switch on over to a Scorched Earth map and you can easily do runs for blueprints on the on the map, and it's a great way to get yourself some extra blueprints that are really decent and really good. But other than that, Scorched Earth is just a really good map. I really enjoyed playing Scorched Earth. You just have to keep in mind that it is more difficult than the island. It is probably more difficult than Ragnarok and whatnot, because you will be living in a desert. You'll constantly be dehydrated unless you have certain sets of armor and whatnot. So do take that into mind as well. As well as that, there are obviously the wyverns and everything. As well, everything on this map pretty much wants to kill you. However, that can be said for all the maps of Ark. So do take that into mind. But Scorched Earth is number 2 on this list. And finally, that only leaves one last map left to go. Aberration is number 1 on this list as being the hardest in my opinion. It's just a horrible map to start off in. You definitely do not want to start Ark if it's your first time playing on Aberration, because you'll have a very difficult time coping with the stresses of Aberration. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new mechanics that were introduced in Aberration that aren't in any of the other maps as well, so do take that into mind. But one of the coolest things about Aberration is obviously the newer creatures. You've got Ravagers, you've got the Carcanosses, you've got the Rock Drakes, the Mole Rats and all that. So there is that as well. As well as that, there is also the multi-leveled interface, I guess you could call it. The multi-leveled levels to Aberration. You know, instead of being wide and expansive like Ragnarok or whatnot, this map is very vertical. So obviously you've got the very deep sections of the map. You've got this section here, which, you know, is very high up. And then once you get further into Aberration, it eventually just drops off and plummets down into the deep dark depths of Aberration itself as well. Now, as well as that, there are vines as well, and a whole heap of different weapons and equipment that you can use in order to get around Aberration. It's great. As well as that, you also have the aberrant creatures, which are really nifty, and they look a lot cooler than their regular counterparts. You can see here, this Spino is literally glowing because of Aberration. In the other maps, you won't actually see these guys glowing because they're only exclusive to Aberration. However, like I said, it is definitely not a map you want to start off on, because it's horrible. It's very difficult to get started on. You'll constantly have Ravagers after you. You'll have everything after you. Look at this. This is the easy section of the map, and there are gigantic crabs running around, Spinos, crocodiles, everything you can possibly imagine trying to kill you. So that is why Aberration is number 1 on this list, because it's difficult, and obviously it is the hardest out of all the maps, in my opinion. However, there are lots of cool things that make it very unique, and I would definitely recommend playing it once you get the chance to, you know, get yourself familiarized with Ark and everything. But you can see this plummet point that I'm talking about. It just drops like there's no tomorrow. So, and it gets even deeper than that. Now, another cool thing about Aberration and Scorched Earth that we didn't actually mention is it also has Explorer notes, and Aberration does have its own unique set of boss, where you fight Rockwell, one of the original inhabitants of the Ark. You'll find his notes further along your way. Pretty much this is the final story map, except for the new DLC coming out. So you'll fight Rockwell, who's been corrupted by the element. Now, as well as that, you can also harvest element on the map, and there's just a whole heap of different unique fundamental things that you can do on Aberration that you can't do on other maps, which makes it really unique and really cool. So yeah, guys, that'll conclude today's list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know what you did enjoy about it down below. But let me know what you guys think of the list, and if you guys think any differently to this. If you think I should have done it differently or whatnot, let me know. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.